most of you here know how important they are, how disproportionately important they are to the balance and the well-being of our planet and to all of us that live on it, including human beings. They're beautiful, mystical, magical, full of the unknown. And there's so much that's not documented. And you think about it, we're now more than 7.4 billion people on this planet. And most people will never get to see it. Or if they do, they sort of drop in and drop out. Forests are a place that you can visit, but they're also home. And they're home to the people who live there. And they would say that they are the forest. And I would say that we are the forest, that we're all connected, that by the very breath that we take, the oxygen that circulated through the sometimes called lungs of the forest, we are connected to the forests. And so what we're going to do today, with the two wonderful people here and Matt Lankis, who's going to share with us sort of remotely. He's kind of watching right now, but you're going to hear his voice and see through his eyes. What we're going to try and do is bring the forest to you and take you to the forest. Certainly the sights and sounds, get you to feel it, get to connect to it. These photographers, videographers, filmmakers, normally they're used to being the other side of the lens. And it's sort of a different place for them to be, to tell their stories. What do they see? And you think about it. You think about all the National Geographic films you've seen, the Discovery Channel films you see. For that 2-minute film that you see, how many hours of footage was left on the editing floor? How many hours of experiences, how many understandings, if you can use that word, that they never get to share. And I'm hoping that in our time together, you will get a little bit of a glimpse of that. And we hope to bring some of that to you. So we're going to go back and forth with our stories a little bit. But first, I think we're going to bring Matt to you because it's the easiest thing to do. And then Alex and Hafa. What I want to quickly tell you is Matt Lankis, a photographer from Austin, Texas, 7th generation Texan, 2nd or 3rd generation Austinite. It was his first time in the forest. What did he see? How did he see it? He spent 3 weeks. Alex, Colombian, grew up in Colombia, had been to the jungle a couple of times, and then last summer he filmed. Hafa, Brazilian, born and grew up in Sao Paulo, but film has been his life. His bachelor's degree, master's, PhD, all in filmmaking, to direction, to executive production. And then now he's been spending a ton of time, 4 months at a time, in the jungle. What's that like? And then me, I run Rainforest Partnership. So for the last 10 plus years, I've gotten to spend a lot of time in the forest and gotten to know people of the forest that we work with. And so we'll get started with Matt. And we'll have time for Q&A at the end as well.
Welcome to my hometown. Welcome to South by Southwest. Thank you for being here. I want to also thank Nianta and Rainforest Partnership for this wonderful opportunity to share some of the things that I saw in Peru with you. We traveled for 3 weeks around the country. We traveled by boat, by bus, by car, by airplane, by canoe, and we also did a tremendous amount of hiking and walking. And what I wanted to share with you is some of the things that I saw and photographed. We also took an 18-hour boat ride up the Amazon. I saw a pink dolphin on the way. It was pretty amazing. I have that memory in my head, not on film, unfortunately. But It was really great, and I hope you will enjoy these images that I'm going to share with you because it's about what I discovered, and that's the people, the flora, the fauna, and just the beauty of it all. And I thank you for being here. So after a 20-hour bus ride over the Andes, we arrived in Satipo, and we took a van to the town of San Antonio, the community of San Antonio, and I had the opportunity to ride on the top of the van. It was really wonderful and very refreshing. And soon I convinced Nianta and the others to join, and this is a little selfie we took from the top of the van. In the community of San Antonio, I brought my Hasselblad to shoot some images, some portraits, and the children were enjoying looking through my camera because it's inverted. It's not a true 35 millimeter with mirrors, so it was kind of fun to watch them be so playful with it. On one of our mini hikes, we went up probably about 1,000, 1,500 feet up from the town, and we're in just some beautiful areas, and this is a glasswing butterfly that really struck me. These are cocoa leaves that are drying, and when we traveled at elevation going back to Lima, we didn't have them on the way, but on the way back, I had someone give me some of these to chew, and it really helps with the elevation. And you kind of masticate, and the juices kind of go in, and this was very much a necessity because I would have been really struggling had we not had these. These are some of the children in the community there with one of the waterfalls. We saw so many beautiful elements of water, and just that was kind of a continuing theme throughout our journey, was the water and the Amazon. And anyway, this is runoff from the Andes coming down. It's constant, it's very cold, but extremely refreshing and just a treat to be a part of. These were some ladies up in the town of Calabasa, and we had stopped there for an overnight visit with one of the communities there, and they were just out one morning, and I just kind of snapped a quick picture, but I love the texture of their clothes and their faces and what's going on in the image. This is on one of our mini hikes. We were headed up and into the cloud forest area, and we were just walking along, having a little moment. This was a beautiful little girl, and I can't remember her name. Nianta will be able to tell you. And she was just so striking looking, and Nianta had actually photographed her a number of years before. So I think we'll try to do a little series with her at some point. These are some of my friends that I traveled with, Nianta there, and we had just such a wonderful time, and everybody was really welcoming. It was just such a fabulous experience, except for when she got her spider in her hand, embedded in her hand. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a bug.
A bug, yeah. Sorry, it wasn't a spider, yeah. Another image that really sticks with me because of the diversity of the terrain, you get these juxtapositions of clouds, mountain, trees, water. It's fabulous. Another one from the cloud forest as we were headed to cross over the Andes to go back to Lima. Just this mountain was getting struck by sunlight where the rest of it was in darkness. This was our mode of transport up the Amazon, and this is pretty luxurious, I have to say, after I saw what the alternative would have been, which is this. These are the little putt-putts, right? I think.
Picky.
Yes, and they are very weighed down with whatever they can hold. This is one of the beautiful moments on the boat ride up the Amazon. And we stopped on the side of the riverbank for a bathroom break, and we discovered these in a little spot. This is the Achuar community, and this was early morning sunrise coming up through the clouds. And it's just heavenly. This is Payas, who was our our travel companion, and he is basically having a community meeting and a welcoming to the community. And I don't know all the details about it, but it was very much ceremonial in a lot of ways. And you share the chicha with everybody, and yeah. I shot this image. These boys had just finished playing soccer, and this one really stuck with me because obviously the Peru shirt, but his face and his demeanor was just like very, I don't want to say stoic, but I just really liked his pose. This is Payas. And this is from a different community in the Achuar, and I was just amazed at these girls playing soccer, and it was really just a beautiful moment. My wife plays soccer, but I had never thought that the girls up in the community would be playing, and it was just a beautiful moment. They were having so much fun running around, chasing each other. These are the boys playing with their long wooden logs in the river, as boys would do. And this is in the way to Chipauta. This man is carrying a heavy load of the palms for the thatched roofs that they're going to do for the community. And I don't know what that weighs, but it does not look light. This is a little angel from the same community of Chipauta. So this guy we found in the middle of the road on our way back to where we were staying, and obviously it's a sloth if you have ever seen one. And we had to stop the car, and thankfully no one else was coming, and we just got out and we helped him cross the road and finish his journey into the wild. We actually physically had to pick him up; he was going so slow. But it was pretty fun experience to see a sloth in the wild. And I'd just like to leave you with this image.
So that was Matt, spending three weeks with me in 3 different communities. He actually drew a map for where he was going, and at some point he said, I need to keep a track of this. I can't figure out how much have we traveled. And it was really intriguing having this man who was coming to South America for the first time, who was coming to the forest for the first time, and then a 10-hour overnight bus ride becomes 20 hours because something happens at the top of the Andes, and a truck had overturned and nothing was moving for most of the 10 hours, and you just sit there, and no food, nothing to drink, and you're in this bus, and everything moves, and he remained calm, and I thought that was really amazing, and he just learned so much. So he couldn't be here, and so what we did a couple of days ago is I just got him in front of a mic, a very small one, hooked up to my phone, and I had him pick his pictures, and I thought you should see it from his perspective. You saw what he talked about, the man bringing all those palm fronds, and what that was going to be like. I would like Alex to share his experience, and I think you'll see a connection. All Matt's pictures were in Peru, and I think Alex is going to talk about Ecuador.
Hello. Yeah, we made this trip to San Isla community that is close to Coca City in Ecuador. This community is pretty well organized. It's amazing how they live there. They have an enterprise, Eco Lodge. So they know really good their territory, and they are connecting to other natural parks. So they have a really thriving forest. So I was touched mainly for their work. They used to work as a minga, and they use this word, it's a Quechua word, to define a kind of community work. When we arrived to the community, and the people were working weaving, the woman were weaving these leaves to roofing a couple of structures because there was a storm days before. So this is the library and the internet center for them. It's amazing how they have not really a leader that say what they are going to do, but looks like depends what they're doing. Everybody knows what to do. It's kind of amazing. So I took pictures with Mariela. We went together over there, and that was really a good experience. Looks how they work together, and how they take care of the community. You can see the kids over there and the young people. They are really healthy and happy people. It's a really interesting community, and if someone is planning to go to the rainforest, this is a good point to start.
Alex, will you, so you talked about two things. You talked about the internet center. How can you have an internet center in the middle of the jungle? And then you saw people wearing those clothes, and then some buildings. Can you tell them where you were, why that was like that?
San Isla, I'm going to say that it's not really deep in the forest. It's right there in the frontier where the progress is going. The city is the Coca, and when you watch in Google Maps, you can see that the borders of Yasuní National Park and the Cuyabeno Fauna Reserve and the San Isla community is right there on the frontier where the agriculture and I don't know, all the exploitation is just right there. They are on the border. So that's why they have internet, I guess. But
it's actually satellite internet, and it's not working right now because it's very iffy. There are a lot of things in the jungle that you try, but it fails very quickly and easily, right? So, satellites take you to the forest and connect you even when you don't have potable water or electricity, and they're about 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on what's happening to the currents, away from Coca by boat, so no roads. I wanted to introduce you to Rafa, and I'm not going to try and say his last name in Portuguese, even though I practiced, and I've known Rafa since last year. We met right here at South by, and South by brings people together, and we talked, we met, and we've gotten to know each other, and it's wonderful to have him on this panel. He's from Brazil, so I'm going to let him tell you a little bit, and then he's going to share a little clip and a couple of pictures with you, and then we'll go back and forth between the two of them after.
Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for the invitation of being here. For me, it's really nice. As Nianta said, I'm Rafa Calil from Brazil. I'm a film director. I've been working in the rainforest since 2005 was the first time I went shooting over there, and since then I kept coming back. And during my experience over there as a filmmaker, I shot a lot of different things. First time I went there, for instance, I went to shoot some MTV Brazil sports show where people was gonna surf the rapids of the Amazon River, and it was really odd, but it really got my attention. And since then I started to know people there and trying to seek for stories there. And right now I'm working on a feature film which got us together. It's called Forest People. It's about Chico Mendes' legacy, and Chico Mendes was probably the most important Brazilian environmentalist, and he was murdered in 1988. So this year is the 30-year anniversary of his death. And we're shooting this documentary which shall be released by May or June of this year in post-production right now. And they're supporting us with that. I just want to play the trailer of it, so then after that I think it's a good trigger to talk about my experience over there.
O Seringal Cachoeira
got Marilla here so she could help man the laptop so that everybody's stuff was on one and I didn't have to do what she's got to do right now.
O Seringal Cachoeira foi dos maiores empates da história de Chico Mendes. Essa terra, ela gera o pão de cada dia do seringueiro. Temos 88 famílias aqui morando. A maioria não pensa em sair daqui.
Hoje de manhã em Chapuri, interior do Acre, o ecologista e líder sindicalista Chico Mendes.
O brasileiro que lutou para proteger a Amazônia é assassinado.
Os fazendeiros realmente queriam expulsar todo mundo da floresta para transformar tudo isso daqui em pasto.
O Seringal Cachoeira ele ia ser derrubado em 2 anos.
Nossa luta tinha uma razão muito grande, que era defender a floresta, uma vida melhor para os extrativistas.
Quando eu nasci, era proibido para eles de seringueiro estudar. Isso aqui foi sangue armado. Para hoje, nós temos o que nós tínhamos ali. Ó.
Comecei com 8 anos de idade. 8 anos, cortando seringa.
E não me acompanha para nós fazer um empate? Vamos deixar cair a floresta?
Tem que ter fé, tem que plantar.
Que meu avô, toda vez que ele plantasse uma castanha, eu estaria quebrando dessa castanha que ele tinha plantado.
O que vai sobrar disso tudo a gente não sabe. Só sabemos que a gente deve continuar lutando e que cada um tem que fazer esse esforço para defender uma natureza tão perfeita.
Okay, so this is the trailer of the film. This is of the shootings we did until May of last year, and we have a lot of different things already shot that it's the editing room. But I wanted to show this trailer because after I went to the forest sometimes by accident, I got to meet Chico Mendes' cousin, which is one of the characters of the film. And one thing that I always went there to the Amazon and got really fascinated about it is, of course, the wildlife is astonishing, the plants, the forest, the huge trees. But I always thought about, well, but there's humans living here in a really hostile environment, you know. And I'm used from the concrete jungle, and every time I went there, I was like, I don't know anything about life, you know. I don't know any. I have like 2 degrees. I speak English, Portuguese, Spanish. I mean, I could be a really well prepared citizen somehow. But when you go to that place, you're like fragile as an ant, you know. And I got really fascinated by that, and tried to investigate people who live in the Amazon since then. So even though I'm shooting films in the Amazon, they're not really about wildlife. I think or if it's about life, it's from the humans, the animals, not the jaguars. Or of course that's all in the package, but I'm always looking to the humans because I think that they can be a good bridge for us to understand the importance of that place, and at the same time they have a lot to share, you know, like. In a philosophical way, and for me, this feature film is important. It's guiding me or driving me through my career, seeking this kind of content and stories. Is that they have like a really good way to deal with their environment surroundings. You know, like they really understand that you need to take care of it, and they understand the consequences of not taking care. Like we don't have this. Explicit in our lives, you know, and when you're walking in the city, everything is already there, it's ready, you know, and you don't understand that sometimes one day like this convention center was a forest or a field of grass or something, but we just feel that this is ready for years and we don't understand the impact of destruction somehow. I don't know. And when you go there, these people are really, they have this really clear, you know, and for me it's kind of like a high level way of dealing with life, you know, with a conscious way. I don't know, it really amazes me, and I started shooting this documentary because of that. I want to give humans voices of the Amazon to be heard somewhere. I don't know. And since then I've been working with scientists who studied the pink dolphin. We did a documentary on that. We did also we're working with I'm gonna show also a little clip. can I show it
Yeah.
right now?
Do you want to
Okay,
show it now?
just
Of course.
just to contextualize it. Well, we start shooting these things in Amazon, and there's not a lot of people that goes there to shoot, you know, because it's not the best place to shoot if you think about it. Like, your camera shuts down suddenly, like battery get exhausted, you got rain all the time, and it can be a mess. But since I've been going there all the time, trying to go there all the time, I also started to work with a Brazilian brand called Natura, and they went after me because they said, "Oh, we like the way that you can get people talking in a really legitimate way," and for me it was really cool because that's my goal, you know, to give them voices. So. And then they want me to start shooting some mini docs for them. We're starting to work. We did some two mini docs, and I have one of this a clip from one of the docs that I shot like 3 weeks ago before coming here. And for me, like, I was shooting them collecting Brazilian nuts in the forest, and I just asked the guys who were collecting, all the group there, why do you think the forest is important for you somehow? It was just a simple question as that, and what I hear back, it's really like the high level consciousness thing that I was talking about. So I'll try to illustrate that with this little clip. So can you put the audio video, please? Yeah.
A castanheira, ela é o mar. E por ela, a gente consegue segurar essa floresta. E a gente também está se beneficiando, que nem a caça, a pesca, e tudo isso depende da floresta. E a castanheira é o marco que segura isso aí. E nisso nós beneficia também as pessoas que estão lá fora, nas grandes cidades, com essa floresta aqui.
Isso passou dos nossos avós para nossos pais, está passando dos nossos pais para a gente, e a gente daqui para o futuro passar para os nossos filhos e ver que preservar é o meio que a gente acha para garantir o nosso futuro hoje. A floresta depende da gente e a gente, sem dúvida nenhuma, a gente depende da floresta para sobreviver. Tudo ligado.
So I don't know, I just think it's in a very simple way. If you think that people don't have like formal education like we do, they have really hard access to all kind of informations like we do, even though they go to the internet and everything. It's a different experience, like being there, but they have like I don't know, they're not selfish at all, you know, they're taking care of the forest for us too, you know what, why are they doing that? It's crazy, you know, and we're not even aware of that, but there are people who's living there and they are fighting for the forest if needed, like I'm trying to portray on the feature film, which brings a political perspective on it, on the Amazon, and how the conflict with farmers and cattle is really hard and deforestation is going on. I mean, the film has to do that. And these are like people who are really connected to it, and they put it in a really simple way, and they will stand still for the forest for whatever happens. I don't know, I think it's beautiful, and I just want these stories to be shared. And I don't know.
Yes.
I can keep talking, but...
Wait, no. What I wanted to do, so yes, we'll bring it back to Alex for just a second.
Yeah.
What you said, that they know a lot of things. They may not have degrees. They may not have knowledge or formal education like we do. And even, you know, we talk about internet. I've been in the deep Amazon where there's satellite internet, which is very, very strange, right? Because you have no cell phone service, no anything else, and you drop in. The world is getting closer, but it's also takes you days to get there, and then somehow you can connect. But Alex experienced something on a walk that I thought would be great for him to share with us.
It's in the same direction that just to underline the knowledge of the forest. We just were in Sunny Lodge. This is the tourist place on San Isla, and we were making this trek with a guide, a native guide. So we start walking. They show us this beautiful place, this beautiful forest, and then in one moment, they show also a lot of traces. They are full of animals. And in one moment, he said that there was a hive, some in some point, and they just advertise us that we are going to be bitten by these big bees, bonga bees or something like that. And I tried to go away, but I get bitten twice. But right there, really close, and there was a tree, and this guy just cut the tree, sangre de drago. I don't know how to say that in English. Sangre de drago is the name of the tree. They cut it, and a liquid, kind of red liquid, they apply on the wounds.
It stands for dragon blood.
It's dragon blood, yes.
That's what it says. Okay, so they apply that, and the pain just go away. It's amazing how they know each tree is. They have that in their hair. It's unbelievable.
And I think that's the intriguing part. The people who live in the forest, who've grown up in the forest, they know so much that they don't know what they know. And when they're at the cusp of our civilization, Western civilization, people are often saying, wait, but they're wearing t-shirts, they're wearing sort of clothes like us. Even in the middle of the jungle, if people are contacted, very few folks actually dress like they used to 30, 40, 50 years ago. And yet they know things that we'll never know because it's dying out. And one of the things that when we talk like this and we capture pictures and videos and stories, we're trying to be, as Rafa said, a bridge. But it's more than a bridge, right? We're also being ambassadors for them and their forest and their culture, and we're getting the chance to bring those stories to the rest of the world, because often they don't have the ability to do that. And how do we honor what their traditions are and what their way of life is? And one can get caught up thinking our work is to protect the forest, or in Rafa's case, his work is to make this film, or when Alex went, he was trying to capture as much footage as he could to bring the story. But how do we honor their traditions and culture and give it a voice beyond just doing the job we have to do? So I would love to go back to you, Rafa, and get you to share that story about being in the jungle when you spend quite a few hours in a hammock.
Okay.
I've not done what he's done, and really, we've all slept in hammocks, on the floor, in tents. I haven't slept in a boat like you have, but it's all very interesting. But he's got an unusual one.
Well, yeah. Just before you get into that, you made a point that I think is really interesting. Is that they don't know, they're not aware of how much they know. Sometimes I think they are, but there are a lot of. And when you think about that as a filmmaker, there's like a lot of stories to explore over there. It's a completely new universe somehow. And for instance, there is an indigenous tribe that I went, and we're gonna shoot for forest people some part of it, and they're a tribe that they have internet over there, but and they were facing conflicts with progress, and young people were getting to the city all the time, just leaving the tribe, and the population was diminishing. So they said that the shamans had this vision that they needed to do a festival about their culture. And then they start doing this festival, and this festival is open for white people, for everyone who can want to join them, even though it's far away. Like it's like a 5-hour drive and 8 hour by boat up the river. But then once people start visiting them and seeing their culture, the youngsters felt connected to their culture again, because we went there, it's like, oh man, this is so cool. And then the guys became proud again, and the tribe got strong again, and now they have like young shamans again, like they have life, even though they use technology and they use like our culture to empower their culture somehow. I don't know, I think it's really smart, But anyway, and when we were shooting this documentary, one thing that really got me fascinated too is that when we were staying there shooting, and then when we went to have lunch, and every meal was a different kind of meat, and never was cow to like a beef, you know. Like, this is deer. What is this? This is tapir. This is turtle. This like man, like they have all this kind of meats all the time. And they said, yeah, the butcher shop is like 5-hour drive from here. So our butcher is the forest. They used to say to us. It's like, man, and I got fascinated about of thinking like, how would it be to, I don't know, to go outside and hunt for your meat, you know, just not get into burger shops. Give me a cheeseburger, you know, it's ready, I got meat, you know. They have to go after meat, and sometimes they don't get to hunt, so they don't have meat. I mean, I found that really interesting, and asked them to shoot a hunting day. When you go to the forest, can I go shooting you? Oh, yeah, you can film, okay. And then I went with them. So we left in the day rise. It was like 5 in the morning, and we walked to the forest for like 4 hours, almost 5 hours, until we found what they thought it would be the right spot. Oh, this is a good tree. There's a lot of fruits under it. Let's stay here. We're gonna grab something here. Okay. And then after walking like 4 hours, we're completely exhausted, carrying equipment and all that stuff. You know, kind of thinking, wow, what I was thinking when I thought about that. You know, like shooting them, hunting. And then they go like 50 meters away from the spot, cut a little tree, like a stick like that, a branch of this table length, and then two of them, one of them goes to one side of the tree, the other on another tree, like two little trees like that, go like 20 feet high, tie them up with vines, and make like almost like a football goal, whatever you shoot to it. And then you go there, you have two trees in this. And after they stand up here and tie the hammock here. So you gotta be on these 20 feet, little skinny trees, 20 feet high on the hammock because of the jaguars, because they can get that high, so you'll be safe. You know, even though you're 20 feet high in a hammock tied with vines. And then we went up and stayed in the hammock. It was around, by then, when we got in the hammock, was almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we had just drank a little bit of water and ate some Brazilian nuts that we collected during the way, you know, and to go after meat, you know. It's crazy if you think that you go to the supermarket. And then we stayed there for like 1 hour and a half, and we started seeing some bushes over there move. Like, oh, what's that? And then we kept looking, and then we noticed that it wasn't an animal there. There was just howler monkeys over the trees eating, and the rest of it was falling down. And then, oh, the monkeys. And we started looking at them, and suddenly silence. And I was like, okay, they're not here anymore. And then I remember that I was laying in a hammock, and there was a palm tree that was, one of the leaves were ripped like that, and I was laying, and so through that little space of the palm tree, I saw the monkey over there, like looking at me, like. I was like, oh. And I said, it's Nilson, the guy was like, he's looking at me, oh. And then he said, oh, he probably thinks you're the weirdest monkey that he ever seen. Like, okay, man. And then said, oh, just stay quiet, okay. And then I tried to take some pictures, and the monkey started to get closer, and he got to a lower branch, and he started going like, like trying to scare us away. And he said, oh, he's trying to scare us away, you know, just let's keep still, don't worry. And he stayed like for an hour and a half, like, like trying to scare us, and we just stayed there, and suddenly he gave up, went up again, ate some fruit, and the group went to the next tree and stayed there, like laying down, really relaxed. And the leader came again, really close to us, like probably from this sound box here, like really close. And then when he was closer to that, the Nilson, the guy was with, said, man, I'm gonna try to scare him away with the flashlight. By then it was like almost 6 in the afternoon. And then he started, and if he doesn't get scared, I might have to shoot because they can become violent, you know. I was like, oh my God. And well, he managed to scare him with the flashlight. The monkey just went away, and he laid in a branch there and kept looking at us, was just laying down, really relaxed, like he was at his living room.
Which it was.
Yes, exactly. and then it was getting dark, you know. And Nilson said to me, oh, this monkey, he got in our hunt, you know, like all this noise that he made, the animals won't come, you know. Let's just stay, we need to stay at night, through the night too, until the animals can come, okay? I was like, okay, man. and so, but he said, you know, he had an accident in the past, so he's almost deaf. You know, he cannot listen to from this year, and this year is really like 10-15% of his audio capabilities, whatever, hearing capabilities. And he said, so when it gets dark, you're gonna be my ear. I was like, oh my God, I've never been here. Now I need to see, I need to listen to the animal that this guy's gonna shoot, you know, and with no light, you know, it's like, okay, now I have barely no light. It's completely dark. I came to shoot them hunting. I won't have them shooting. I was like, oh, what am I doing here? And well, so then we stayed, and the night came in, and around 6:30, almost 7, it was like really low light. We started to hear a jaguar, like really loud, and he was coming from our back, like the trail that we came, you know, like exactly from the direction that we came walking. And Nilsson said, oh, he's probably smelling us, so let's wait. He might pass through it. He won't get us here. Okay, I was like, all right. And then, well, the animal kept really loud. That all my hair was like shivering. I was like, my God. But we couldn't manage to see it. It just walked through us, but we kept listening until it got far away. And then it was completely dark, a lot of mosquitoes, and you could see like mosquitoes biting you, and the Nilsson said you cannot go like, because animals can hear. So you need to go like and throw it inside the hammock, because if it falls on the floor, they can smell it. I was like, oh my God. They just want meat, you know? And then I just kept like getting the mosquitoes out of me, and I lay down and wait and trying to listen to the soundscape of the place and understand what of all this noise is not the pattern, you know? What would be an animal coming in so I can help this guy hunt. And before he said that you're gonna be my ear, just listen to if you see any animal walking, and if you do, if they go like, it's a deer, and we want a deer. So if you listen to that, please let me know. I was like, okay. And then I just laid down and really concentrated on the soundscape, trying to filter the sounds. And suddenly I listen like, Nilsson fall asleep, you know. Oh my God, he fall asleep. I'm completely alone now, you know. If something happens, I don't even have him to help me out, you know. And then he kept sleeping, and I was like really concentrated, and I started getting like sleepy, and I was almost sleeping, and I started listening to. I was like, man, this wasn't here. And then it kept like, I was like, oh, it might be an animal. I got really euphoric. I was like, I think there's something. And I kept listening to that noise, and I started trying, because when we tied the hammocks, it was like 2 trees like this and one like this in an L. So I was here, Nilsson was on this hammock, and the tree was here. And I was like listening, and I started going like, I sat down and started trying to reach his hammocks, like, man, I'm listening, and the came all the time, and then I started listening like bites. I was like, man, there's an animal eating here. I need to wake him up. Oh my God! And then suddenly as I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, it's the deer! It's the deer! And I was like, I cannot miss the deer! It's the deer! And I was like for like 10 minutes, I don't know, I was like trying to reach the hammock. And where's the hammock? And suddenly I was like, the hammock was like here, like I was like, oh, it's here all the time. I was like, oh, really dark, like in 10 centimeters difference. And I hit the hammock, and I could listen to Nilsson getting up. And then he just flashed the light up to the forest and said, well, he started and got his rifle and said, where did you hear the sound? And when that was it, the direction is the flashlight going down, because he says that when you point towards the sky, the animals can see the light, the flash, you know. So he just goes like that and he starts going down, so the animals don't notice the light. I don't know, it's hunting techniques. And then he went like that, and I said, oh, I think this way, I heard this way. And when he pointed this way, it was a huge deer. I was like, oh my God. And then I turned on the camera, and when I turned on the camera, I was like, bah! He shot the deer. I was like, oh, he shot the deer. I can't believe it, you know. And then I pressed rec and pointed to the deer, and the deer was there, like staying a little bit, because he hit him like here. It was not a perfect shot. And I was like, so I got the image of the deer, like, oh, I got the deer. And I turned to Nilsson again on the hammock, and he was like getting the gun ready, poof, and shot the deer, and it really fell down. And then he said, okay, we got a deer, all right, let's go down. Now we need to be quick because sometimes hunters clean the animals on the jungle, on the forest, and the jaguars knows that. So a lot of jaguars, when hears a sound, they come to the sound's direction, a shot, because they want meat, and they know they're gonna fight for the, oh my God. And they had the equipment and all that, packing, the hammock and everything. And then he tied the deer's paws, and we got it and went walking back. And it was like almost 10 o'clock at night already, and we had like a 3-hour walk inside the forest, carrying the 120-pound deer. It's really the most heaviest thing I ever carried, and I got 2 kids, you know, so, so it was crazy. And we went like through the rainy forest, I could sleep and fell with the animal all the time, and we went to close to the hut that we were getting there. We started screaming to ask for help because we were exhausted, and then we was like, oh, and then they came to help us. And while we were resting, one thing that was really smart also from this little knowledge that they have, we were thirsty, and we stopped in a margin, like a little stream, river, whatever, but it was like 3 meters high from us, you know, it was really, you could see the water down there. I was like, oh man. And Nils was like, are you thirsty, right? Yeah. I said, yeah, so am I, so let me do something. And then he got a bamboo, cut the bamboo, like, and measured with the water over there, and took it away, got his knife, and you know, then bamboo has those segments, like little segments, so he got the last segment, opened a hole here, was like, filled with water, brought it up, and then we drank like a liter of water in 5 minutes as a kid, you know. It was amazing. And then they got to help us carry the deer into our home, and once we got there, he said, okay, we have this tradition. Every time a hunt gets a deer, we need to eat the deer's liver as soon as possible, so the hunter will keep as a good hunter. I don't know, it's just a mystic tradition that they have. So they clean up the deer instantly and prepared the liver, and we ate all together, and it was delicious, you know. And then probably it was the most delicious meat I ate because of all this process to get it, you know. But I thought it was really amazing that they feel all the consequences of getting it right or getting it wrong whenever they go to get meat, you know. I mean, we're completely alienated from that somehow, you know. For us, we don't think about all those consequences. I mean, we don't think about where this water came from somehow, you know. Like he drinks the water from the river right there, you know. It's a kind of connection to the environment and to the surroundings, like, because our environment would be the city, you know. I'm talking about environment as a forest only, but the place that a community lives, and they are connected to their place in a really beautiful ways, and that goes to the grabbing some meat, you know.
Yes. Well, what I wanted to do quickly is, because I do want to have time for you to ask questions, is Alex, both of them have some slides, and what I wanted to do was maybe Alex can just, if Alex's slides go into the Atwa territory play, I just want to know from Alex, what did it feel like going to the jungle, and what you thought was going to be a day and a half on a boat became something else? Will you share that story as the slides play back there?
Okay, we went to a community Achua in Peru. They are in the frontier between Ecuador and Peru. We use 3 rivers. Normally it takes 1 day and a half, but there was a lot of really low level on the river. We have a really low power in the boat and a lot of people on it because we travel with the Sister Lauritas. They have a mission in the Achua territory. So we just spent 5 days, day and night, so there. Was really tough, but...
He's talking about on the boat, by the way. He's not talking about in the community. This is all travel on that boat. 5 days, one way.
Yes, we have the opportunity to enjoy really the ride, I guess, no? Even we have the opportunity to watch some fauna, a deer, and a lot of birds. It's amazing how it's a pristine and really thriving forest. And was a really landscape and beautiful. And we passed for the Kandoshi territory. It's another community. We were witness how they struggle with the contamination of the oil companies also. It was a really interesting process to go there. Unfortunately, we just spent 1 day over there and then go back. But it was a really good trip. A lot of trees and branches crossing the river that made the travel slow.
You were talking about an animal you saw or something swimming, and you weren't sure about what that was. I thought that was really intriguing, especially when Rafa talks about his deer picture. Alex was showing that to me.
The next one. Yeah. This is a Masama? Masama Americana. Yeah. There, we also were able to see pink dolphins. Pink dolphins? Yes, and but for the time the camera was ready, the dolphins were gone. That happened on time, and the boat is really loud, so that was really lucky for both of us. We're able to capture this.
Yeah. So, and you can see, I think, with the other reason Alex wanted to show that picture, he was talking about that's how low the water level was, which is something that's very odd. People don't think about climate change affecting the Amazon, but there have been droughts in the Amazon, and so that was a very unexpected thing that it took them 5 days in a boat, that the water level was that low. It's an interesting thing that I thought, and I haven't seen something like this because I haven't experienced that in the forest. But what I wanted to do was, and Rafa has some pictures that maybe we can play on the side, but I thought I would open it up for you all to ask some questions and see if we can have a little bit of a conversation before South by says that we have to go leave. But these guys are actually going to hang and answer questions, including about what kind of equipment do they use, and Rafa's two fellow filmmakers are here as well, and some very intriguing stories. So, and if you don't have questions, we'll continue because they have a lot of stories to share still. So, but I did want to give people that opportunity. So if you have a question, please. Yeah. Look at the night sky by the time that Joe's coming. Isn't that gorgeous? It really is real.
What is your experience with the governments of Ecuador and Peru and Brazil? Are they helping you? Are they hindering you? Do you feel like they know you're there? How do they react to people trying to help the people in the forest and keep the farmers away and that sort of thing?
You go first.
Okay, there's both situations, you know, like for instance, when forest people, we went to the police, the environmental police that are visiting the reserves to, how do you say, to oversee the reserves to see if there is deforestation going on. And we went to them, and they were really fine with us. Okay, you can follow us, and we went. No, in Brazil. This is Brazil, and we followed them for like 10 days, and they got like a lot of people arrested during the operation, a lot of fines and all that. And one of the things that I found terrible is like one of the guys who got arrested was a guy from the city council of the city. That was the first was cutting trees in the reserve in an illegal way, and this guy also we were really worried about when we were shooting. It was like, oh, we shot him getting arrested, like with capturing camera, and then said, okay, man, we need his authorization, and he's like a politician, like he probably won't give us the authorization. So I managed to reach him again and tell, man, please, I need to listen your side of the story too. Otherwise, you're gonna be only portrayed as a deforestator. And then he managed to talk to us, and he brought like a really not real wise point of view, perspective. Like he kind of getting a little bit confused because he's not right, what I mean. But we managed to get this guy, for instance, from the government breaking the rule inside the movie, So I kind of get both things, and there's a lot of complications when you go there. There are some places that if the politicians knows that you're going, they try to block you from going. But shooting in the rainforest, what I learned is that you need time, You need
shooting
time
with
to
a camera.
Yeah, shooting, yeah. Filming in Amazon, you need time, You need to spend time. You need to give time for things to happen, and so you can find your ways, find the right connection, understand if you're getting blocked or if it's really hard to get, or there's something getting in the way, trying to make it harder. I mean, and for this documentary, we've spent more than 4 months shooting over there, so we could create and try to different ways, and a lot of them doesn't work, so you step back and try another contact and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of resistance because a lot of politicians are farmers, in Brazil. A lot of the candidates became from huge farms that owns cattle, and so there's a really political pressure of diminishing the reserves where these people live and to have it like a cattle field,
So let me just quickly add, in Ecuador and Peru where we work, officially, of course, the governments at the federal level want to help and protect, and they have formal policies, constitution in Ecuador that gives rights to nature, the only country that does. Very progressive in that sense, way of thinking. Just think about it, right? That nature has rights and embedded in a constitution. But at the same time, there's all these levels of government, right? So one of the things we do is we partner with the communities and local governments, and so you make it harder, right, for people to do certain things. It's not easy. We've had a project coordinator who was on an assassination list a long time ago. We haven't had that in years, and I never feel unsafe. You guys were never unsafe. It's everything you would read in a guidebook would say don't do, but your instincts work very differently when you're in the forest as well. I mean, everything works on instinct, and I think what you do is find people who really want to work with you. Before we go to your question, Mariela, will you let how fast slides roll so people can just sort of get that as a backdrop? I know you had a question.
Yeah, for films like this, do you do a lot of planning in advance as far as kind of deciding what the story arc is going to be, or did you find that it was a lot more just capturing a lot of the unknown stuff as you go and then kind of crafting the story after the fact?
Yeah, well, it's a good question because when we started pre-production, we started obviously planning something, we were after something, so we needed that there are some stuff that we need to shoot, so we have the film standing somehow. But I was talking with my assistant director, and I knew the guys over there. I've been going there since 2009, the characters, and I was just trying to find the best way to tell the story and the financing for it. Once I got it, so okay, let's just start producing for you. Okay, and we were in a meeting in the office, and I said, man, we need to go there and stay at least 20 days on the first flight, so we'll understand what is possible, what is not, and do whatever is possible, and also be open to new things that might appear. And he said, no, but we need to plan, like, it's the assistant director, he wants a schedule and everything going on. I was like, okay, so try to reach them and talk to them to see what you think. And then he spent like 2 weeks to get in contact with them first, and then finally got in the cell phone, talking to him. Oh, so Nilson, we're going on those dates. I need to discuss with you a planning shoot, so to see what we're gonna do in each day and everything. And the guy said, man, for real, there's no way that you can plan anything here, Just come and we work everything out. And I was like, oh, no, it's impossible. And I need to plan. There's no way that you plan. You waste your time. Just come here and everything will gonna be all right. And then he was like, man, he said that there's no way to plan. I said, well, I told you, man, we just need to go there. But see, yes, we had a lot of things in mind that we needed to capture on camera. But at the same time, we said, okay, we need this 4 sequence, for instance, for the movie, like deforestation, police, the indigenous tribe, the rubber tappers cutting rubber on the trees, and the union leaders Robert III union leader election, for instance. And then said, okay, let's go there, stay like 3-4 weeks, and once we get there, we understand when we can arrange everything, you know. And then it was like that, you know. And we will also face it, like one of the times we went, like it was 12 days raining all during the day, and from these 12 days, 9 days with no electricity. So I mean, even if you plan, you just need to wait, you know. So.
And the pictures that are that are rolling there is basically all the footage as they were filming there.
Yeah,
And
this is something that I think it's funny, because this is one of the first days of shooting, and this is Nilsson, one of the characters, the guy who took me hunting. This was probably the first day of our shooting, and I always, as a director, as I told you, try to give them voice and try to connect to them somehow, create a relationship. And I just think this is so funny, because we started shooting in the forest on the first day during the morning, and like in the afternoon he was already like this, you know. So it's like, all right, man, like he's with us, you know, like, and then things comes in a really fresh way, you know, like it's not really mechanical interview testimonials or whatever. I try to create this kind of relationship. I think this is a good way to illustrate it. These are some. Oh, this is the deer. The deer we were going back, like flashlight and really low. It was a full moon. I got this camera with like really high ISO, so I took the picture just to register. This is Nilsson carrying the deer. That was a really nightmare. Yeah, that's all right. Yes.
And they have brought some Brazil nuts, very fresh from Acre. If anybody wants to, at the beginning of the panel, I said, you know, we're going to take you to the forest. We're going to let you see, hear, feel, connect to the forest. And I sort of left out the eat as well. And I think Andre was going to maybe bring something else from the forest. I don't know. We were maybe going to bring one more thing from the forest, which was the smell of the forest. So we thought, you know, can we take you to the forest and can we bring the forest to you? It's hard when you have these sort of white lights here. And we're in Austin in this convention center. But they just brought this Palo Santo, which many of you know. I mean, you have Palo Santo, the tree in Mexico as well. But of course, they go all the way into Brazil as well. I will just, I know we're about run out of time, but I'd love to recognize Mariela Palacios. She's from Colombia. She's Rainforest Partnerships Director of Projects. And Matt was watching this. We hope he could. There was some issue why he couldn't be here, and he felt very dreadful, and I told him we will let him not feel so bad. And she stepped in, and then I would love to have Rafa and Alex sort of say closing words for you all, and thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for the opportunity of sharing my brief experience in the forest. I'll be glad to talk to anyone if they want. Right now, besides this documentary that we're working, we're in development still, but we're working on another documentary with the indigenous tribe. That I think this one is the political perspective on the forest, and now I'm trying to portray the spiritual side of the forest. In this indigenous tribe, this is where they actually did the tribe that we were doing. We found this indigenous women leader of the community, and she's organizing a shaman meeting from 18 different tribes. She's gonna unite them, like the 18 from different tribes, to exchange knowledge about medical plants, and we're gonna portray that with them. And I'm trying to really get to this thing of getting the voice of these people on the screens, to a point that this documentary is gonna be directed in collaboration with youth indigenous people. So what we're doing in the production process is we're gonna go like a month, 2 months before, and have a film workshop with indigenous young people who wants to be part of the film as a crew, and then we will have all this crew with me part of it, directing the whole thing and shooting everything and filming, and then we'll just release the film in a really collaborative way, you know, like a collaborative direction with. So I try to have them and now their voice for real and their lenses for real on the screen, not only my lenses. So this is what we are working next, you know. And may the forest be with us.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much. And maybe I just want to retake your question about the government. When we made this trip to Peru, I just found that some government policies have really changed, or they're really the big change to the communities when are well implemented. We have a community in San Antonio, this is in Peru. They used to cook with wood, so that's why they tear down the forest. When the government implement a gas cooking, you know, they give away a kind of cylinder gas, propane gas, and kitchens, just give away to the people. That's when the people stop to tear down the rainforest. So that big connection right there. It's impossible to work with the communities if they are not engaged politically, I guess. That's a big challenge.
And I'll tell you from Peru, the From Peru is in the trade show here. We had a great conversation with them yesterday. They are part of the division of tourism, this Casa Peru. And one of the things they said is people don't realize that 60% of Peru is tropical rainforests. And that's something they want to focus on and get people to understand why they want to protect it and why that's important. So I thought that was really amazing. And so I just wanted to leave you with Chico Mendes's most famous quote, which, you know, folks in their 20s don't really know. I tried it in the office and they didn't, and some of us know this, right? Because he was talking about it 30 years ago, translated in English, of course, and I don't know if it's a great translation from Portuguese. But, you know, remember, he said, at first, I thought I was fighting to save rubber trees. And then I thought I was fighting to save the Amazon rainforest. And now I realize I'm fighting for humanity. And I think 30 years later, those are the people that we work with in the forest and we're getting to know. They're the guardians of the forest, and I think that's what all of us here have the privilege of doing, and that is working with them, helping them protect their forests. Because when they're doing it not just for themselves, but all of us everywhere. So thank you for being part of that.